The second point is about the height. So for the female cabin crew, if you guys are dreaming to become a cabin crew, watch the whole video without skipping so that you will not miss out on any important point. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel Dia. Hope you all are doing well. I hope you guys have watched my previous video in which I'm talking about my journey of becoming a cabin crew after computer science engineering. If you guys have missed out on that, I have put the link in my description box. You can click on that and watch the video, or you can click on the video which appears on the screen right now. So let's get into the video without any further delay. So today in this video, I'll be talking about the minimum requirements for becoming a cabin crew for both male and female. But please note that the requirements can vary and will vary between the airlines. But I will be talking about the basic requirements that you should meet, or which is mandatory if you're dreaming to become a cabin crew. So before you apply to any airline, make sure you check on their official website about the requirement, alright? And also another point to note that requirements, like I mentioned, requirements vary between airlines. But however, these basic requirements that I'm going to talk about remains the same for both domestic and international. So without any further delay, let's get into the video. So let's talk about the first requirement. The first point is about the minimum qualification. The minimum qualification to become a cabin crew is 12. So right after your 12th, you can go and give your interview for a cabin crew. But for international, for most of the international airlines, they require a graduation. So you will have to complete your graduation. So like I mentioned, it varies between the airlines. And for example, for Vistara airline, the minimum requirement to become a cabin crew is 12. But however, you should have minimum 60% or at least 60% score in 12. Then only you can go for a cabin crew interview for Vistara. Then only you can become a Vistara cabin crew. Alright, so requirements vary, but the minimum qualification is 12. Before completing 12, you cannot go for the interview, because by the time, if you get selected for the cabin crew interview, by the time you join the airline, you will have to submit all your 12th degree and all your documents and certificates, right? So you will have to complete your 12th. The second point is about the height. So for the female cabin crew, the minimum height required is 155 centimeter, and for the male cabin crew, it is 165 centimeter minimum. So basically the airlines have specific height requirements because the cabin crew has to reach the overhead compartments comfortably, right? So that is the reason the airlines have their own specific height requirements. The third point is about the age criteria. So the age criteria is between 18 to 21. So the minimum age you have to meet is 18. I think for international it is 21 for most of the international airlines. You should be 21 at least. And for the domestic airline, you should be 18. So right after you complete, by the time you complete your 12th, I guess most of you should be like 17 or 18. But by the time you join as a cabin crew in domestic airline, you have to be 18 years old. The next point, that is our fourth point, is about the communication. English is mandatory. I'm sure you guys know about that because it's very basic. You have to know English. I'm not telling you that your English should be on point, but you should be able to communicate effectively with your passengers and with your colleagues, that is your fellow cabin crew members, well, right? They have to understand what you're talking. It's not just that you should know English, but then you should have an effective communication skill. If you know Hindi, then that is definitely a bonus. For the domestic airline, Hindi is mandatory, so you should know Hindi as well. But then English is mandatory. But Hindi depends upon the airline you are applying for, right? Some airlines need Hindi as well, but for most of the domestic airlines, for most of the airlines in India, they need you to know Hindi as well. So make sure you check that on their official website before you apply, okay? Why I'm saying English is mandatory? Because English is the international language of aviation. So English is a must. Fifth point is about your health. Your health should be fit and fine, because This job is physically demanding, as you guys know. So this includes good eyesight, normal body weight, and basically you should have the ability to pass the medical examination. The next point is about the body mass index. I'm not going to tell you what is the body mass index that you should have, because it varies between the airlines. But the minimum body mass index is 18. You should not be less than 18. So you can calculate your body mass index. So your weight should be proportion to your height. So you guys can go ahead and calculate that to check if you're falling under the requirement or not. The next point we're going to talk about is tattoos and scars. No tattoos or no piercings in the visible parts while you are in the uniform, while you wear the uniform, right? But I'll tell you, I think it's for Air India, they allow their female cabin crew to wear nose pins. So depends upon the airline, right? But in case of tattoos are a big no-no when you are in the uniform. If you have that, you will get rejected straight away. So please note that before you go for the interview. And the last point is passport. Passport is mandatory, because even if you're working for a domestic airline, for an Indian airline, for example, if you're working for Vistara or Indigo, you will definitely be flying out of India, right? You'll be flying out of India, you'll be flying to international destinations, and for that, passport is mandatory. So yeah, these are the minimum requirements to become a cabin crew for both male and female. Except the BMI and the height part, everything else remains the same for even the male cabin crew. So if you guys are meeting all these requirements that I mentioned, then good to go, all the best. Now, if you find that you don't meet the basic requirements that I mentioned to become a cabin crew, do not let that discourage you. Please do not let that discourage you, because aviation is not the end of your life. It's not the end of the world. It's just one of the many career paths out there. So that's it. All the best for everyone who are dreaming to become a cabin crew. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching my video, and catch you all in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.